All right, good evening, and many thanks for joining us. Welcome back to Opposing Views. We've been on for quite a while. Sincere apologies for that, but we had to take a quick break, and we are back now in full force and in full glare. And so thank you for taking time off to join us. As you notice now, the time has changed from 12 o'clock midday to 5 p.m. We have communicated for a couple of weeks now. One of the reasons why we decided to hold on up until now to return to your screens with Opposing Views. And so now, as you can see, the time slot for Opposing Views from now till eternity is Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. And so today, we are coming away with something very, very exciting. And it has to do with something that bothers you and I, particularly our younger siblings, our colleagues, our children who are in school. Because university teachers have been on strike for some time now. In fact, this is not the first time they're going on strike. No. This is not the first time government is promising them of something. No. For some strange reason, though, both university teachers and government authorities are unable to reach a compromise as to what really must be done for them and how it should be done. That appears to be the bane of this entire situation, the reason for which university teachers have been on strike for quite a while now. There's an update on that situation because yesterday they were in court at the National Labour Commission, University Teachers Association of Ghana, as well as Government of Ghana. They were in court. There was a ruling and a few other developments have also come into the fray. I'll be sharing all of that with you in a short while. But remember, this is Opposing Views. We are live on your television, coming to you from Silicon Square right here. This is the Gone in Accra, and transmitting on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even on YouTube. The handle is at MX24GH. When we return from this break, we delve into the program. Stay with us. Okay, so thank you again for joining us for today's edition of Opposing Views. Like I said, today we are focusing on education, on university teachers right here in Ghana. My name is Kwabna Chenchen, and you can follow on all social media handles. My personal handles at the KKBGH, That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. At the KKBGH. But if you want to follow the show, do well to get on to the MX24 pages on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube. It's at MX24GH, and you can get up-to-the-minute information as and when this show progresses. Okay, so like I said, university teachers have been on strike for some time now, and they are raising issues with their conditions of service. There's a lot that has been thrown into the foray when it comes to issues pertaining to university teachers. There's something about single spine, how they were on a certain gradient, they were moved to another gradient, and all kinds of things. Now we are told of some research allowance and this and that. There's so much that seems to confuse the ordinary people, myself included. So you and I, we don't seem to understand why our children, our brothers and sisters are having to suffer because government and teachers in the country are unable to agree on something. I don't know why. But today, we are privileged to have been joined by a number of people who help us perhaps appreciate the nature of the situation. And then, once that is done, we can perhaps get some answers and try and see if we can find a way forward. And so, like I mentioned, there's a bit of an update on the situation, which is the case that university teachers have been fined 3,000 Ghana cedis by the court for defying a ruling secured by the National Labour Commission. That ruling suggested that all teachers were supposed to return to the classrooms. And if you do recall, a number of students who are writing exams have had to, some way, somehow, either stay at home, not doing much, or be in school, not doing much, except perhaps chase boys and girls. But yeah, not much is happening on the various campuses because the teachers are on strike. So the NLC had gone to court to force these teachers to go back to the classrooms and to get the students to write their exams so that they can be done with the academic semester. The teachers defied that. And so yesterday, that was on Monday, the 16th of August, there was a court hearing, and then at that hearing, the court fined the University Teachers Association of Ghana some 3,000 Ghana cedis, and then instructed that both parties must take the case out of court, sit around the table, and ensure that we get to an amicable solution in the shortest possible time so that things can return to normal. So that's the bit of an update there. We'll come back to that in a short while. But let me introduce our guest for today's show. Kofi Asare is the Executive Director for Africa Education Watch. He's been kind enough to join us for today's show. Dr. Davis Anafo, he's president for the University Teachers Association of Ghana. Also, Cheme Opon Daniel. He's with the National Union of Ghana Students, NUCS. He's the Education Secretary for NUCS. He will also be joining us in a short while. And Kwame Ntofianku, SRC President for the University of Ghana. These gentlemen will be helping us appreciate the situations in a short while. Gentlemen, good evening, and many thanks for agreeing to join us for this evening's edition of Opposing Views. Hope you're well.
Hi, good evening and good evening, Secretary.
Right,
and
good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you all. I would like to take a brief comment from Kofi Asare because he has a broader perspective of a number of things that pertain to education in the country, and so I'll try and understand things from his perspective, and then we'll zero in on the people who have been most affected by this strike, who happen to be the students. So we'll zero in on them in a brief while. But let's start with Kofi Asare. Kofi, good evening again. And let me find out, as we continuously hear of teachers embarking on strike here and there, this happening here, how much of a problem is this, particularly for students who at this particular point in time are writing exams? They've been asked to hold on with their exams. Some of the schools are even threatening to shut down because not much appears to be going on. How much of a challenge is this? And could it be the case that government perhaps is not handling this well enough?
Indeed, it is a challenge. It is an experience no one will wish for. Being in school and doing virtually nothing,
right?
You know, beyond self-studying. It is exacerbated by the already COVID-stressed academic calendar. And I heard some students complaining that they've almost done 1.5 years in just one academic year because of the COVID.
Yeah.
So it is an uncomfortable situation that everyone who finds themselves in will not be happy. Not only those who find themselves in, but as observers or practitioners within the education space, obviously are not happy about the development. It is our expectation that this never happens in an academic year that has been eaten by COVID, in an academic year that has compelled tertiary institutions to run double track and forcibly adapt blended learning, irrespective of the challenges of internet access and
even its associated costs,
accompanying issues with blended learning.
Right.
So it is an unfortunate development, to say in summary.
Okay, Kofi, thank you. Those are rather brief remarks, and we like that. We'll come back to you shortly for a lot more. But let's go to the KNUST. Cheme Opon Daniel is joining us from there. Cheme, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Hope you're well. Cheme, can you paint a picture to us what is happening? What is happening on campus? He's with NUCS, by the way. He is going to help us appreciate the situation there also. But really, how are students dealing with all of this? I know you are in touch with a number of them, and perhaps they may be complaining. I don't know. Some may be quite happy that teachers are not coming to class and exams is not happening. But whether you defer it or not, it's still going to happen. Can you paint a picture to us what the situation on ground is, how students are coping? And of course, you may have to turn on your video so we can see you.
Okay. All right. Good evening once again. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
All right.
Go ahead.
So I think I wanted to look at We are grateful that you've given us the opportunity today on your platform. Sincerely, I must admit that the UTAG strike has led a lot of students in stranded at this very material moment. And when you get to various campuses, King University, Legon, UPS, Fatabu, I think students are now confused as to what to do in their next line of academics. So currently as we speak now, sorry for the interruptions. Currently as we speak now, I think most students are sorry.
Okay. Chairman, just hold on briefly for me, right? We'll come back to you in a short while. Let's go to the University of Ghana and try and gauge the situation there also. Kwame Ntofianko is the Student Representative Council President, and he's joining us also via Zoom. Kwame, good evening. Kwame, can you hear me?
Very good evening.
Great. Kwame, so are you on campus now?
Yeah, I'm actually on campus.
Okay, so yourself and your colleagues, what are you doing now that no academic activity is going on? What are you doing?
Okay, so I think similar to what is happening on other university campuses. For us as an SRD, our duty is to speak for students of this university, not to necessarily take sides, as in speaking for UTAG or speaking for government.
Right.
As students, the session we have is with the university management, not with any of these entities. But I've been following the developments in the University of Ghana. On the 3rd of August, I wrote to the school's management that we wanted an act on the way forward because this is something that is, and as a matter of urgency, it was prudent for them to, properly communicate to our students for them to know what they should do. And that is what the communication on the suspension of exams and all academic activities.
And so when you wrote to management of the University of Ghana, what was the response you received?
Yes, so they responded that examinations will actually be on hold, or let me say it's going to be suspended. Oh, the school is opened. The academic activities on hold, examinations were suspended, but the school opened. These were some of the responses we had from the university management.
Interesting. The sentiments you pick on ground, what does it suggest to you? How problematic is the situation to the students you represent?
Honestly, if you ask my ticketers, I think it's something that we are privy to. Students were told to go home. I know that COVID was something that was beyond the government, and students were made to stay home from March through to January. We came to school from January, there were about strikes. We saw some from senior staff, we saw some, and the focal point of it is what we are currently trying to. That is a huge, actually being.
Okay. I think your internet is not very stable, right, Kwame? I'll need you to reposition yourself briefly, if you can, so that we can get a clearer line and then hear you as you respond to that issue of how students are coping in these rather difficult times. Kofi Asare had made a very, very interesting point which suggested that because of COVID, the students are having to complete a one-year academic calendar in 1.5 years. And so they are having to squeeze a lot of things in there, but some way, somehow, even that is not enough to get teachers back into the classrooms. Okay, let's go on to the ground itself, the University of Ghana, because Ajwa Tinkrama of our newsroom was there earlier today and interacted with a number of students. Let's try and appreciate the situation from them directly, and then we can get back to Kwame, who is the SRC president for the University of Ghana, and then hear some more views from him. But for now, let's head to the University of Ghana. Here's Ajwa Tinkrama with this report.
On the University of Ghana campus to gauge the mood among the students who are at the receiving end of an almost 3-week strike by the University Teachers Association of Ghana. I have a variety of people here who are going to share their reactions. But first, let me start with the Vice President, I'm correct, of the SRC, the SLC, Barnabas. Barnabas, I'm sure that you have been overwhelmed by concerns of students asking you, what are you doing about the situation? Can you share your reaction?
Right, so many students are complaining about the strike. It appears on the surface that some students are happy, but I mean, genuinely, students are not happy at all, especially fourth year students or final year students, and even first year students. So there are so many concerns coming in that, I mean, the SRC should do something about this strike because the impacts are numerous. They are countless. It's affecting our academic calendar. It's affecting, our whole life calendar, because final year students, for instance, are supposed to exit the university and then even commence with national service.
Let me engage Priscilla, who is a level 400 student. Priscilla, how directly is this strike affecting you?
Actually, this strike has halted our examination. So although we're supposed to write our exam from last week, but then because of the strike, we are still in the rooms, and some are sleeping and things, and some are also, they don't even know how to learn, because now we don't know when we will start these exams for us to continue with our life.
For level 400 students, I know that you guys should be in the period where you're also writing or preparing your project. Senna, can you share with me the challenges you're having combining this whole strike and then the project work you're supposed to be engaging in? Can you share with me?
And so from the beginning, we've already been distorted as a result of the COVID-19, where the whole academic calendar has been structured in a way that we are running a double track system. So there's been pressure from the online, where you're having your classes and internet is messing up. We're already dealing with that stress. And then combining projects and all assignments that lecturers give you, in addition to learning for exams, and then now UTAG strike, it's really affecting me personally. My group members and I, we put our project on hold because where we've gotten to, we need guidance from our lecturer. But because of the strike action, the lecturers are not willing to help us in anything, and perfectly understood, because they also need their conditions of services to be better. In a sense, it's like the teaching assistants have also gone on strike, because if I'm helping this lecturer and this lecturer is on strike, I mean, what else can I do? And sometimes there are certain things that the teaching assistant cannot help you with, but you need the lecturer himself to help you or herself to help you. So we're just praying and hoping that this whole strike thing comes to an end as soon as possible.
And I have with me here Frederick. Did I get the name right? Frederick is a teaching assistant in the economics department, and he'll react shortly to what Senam said. What's your reaction?
Well, I don't think teaching assistants are entirely not willing to help. Because me, for instance, students reach out to me, and when they do, I try to help them. And she's saying there are things that lecturers, it's only lecturers who can help. I don't think it's entirely true, because when it comes to academic work, there are a lot of things, something like project work. Teaching assistants are supposed to have done them, and they know how to go about them. So if you reach out to them, I think they should be willing to help. And you find them in your groups. You have course groups and other stuff, a lot of media, and even with the lecturers, you can get them through email. Because these times there has been a restriction on in-person meetings. So the communications are usually done in those online stuff. Yes, so I don't think this will be an issue. And on the other hand, I also find this situation, although it's unfortunate for everyone, I think it gives some students opportunity to catch up with their coursework.
I totally agree with him, because some of my courses need time to cover up all the things that you've been taught. And some, personally, there are some virgin slides that I've not been able to catch up with.
When you say virgin slides, it's new to me.
Yeah, slides that I've not been able to go through. So this time it's giving the opportunity to be able to go through all those slides and catch up with everything. And also my project work. Yeah, there are lots of things I need to do with my project work.
So the strike is not...
For me, personally, it's not affecting me.
Wow.
It's not affecting me, because it's giving me time to be able to catch up with everything.
UTAG is doing something which is in the right direction, because as a father of the nation, you can't tell teachers who impart knowledge in the future leaders that you can become a millionaire by being in the classroom. But it is out of pressure of opportunities that the lecturer decided to be in the classroom to impact knowledge in us, so that when the time comes for us to be in the hands of affairs, we can control the country very well. But for government to increase the government machinery salary by 74% and increase that of the labor commission by 4%, it tells you that they're saying that the rich will continue to be rich and the poor continue to be poor.
As you have heard from the 6 students and 1 teaching assistant that I've spoken to here on the University of Ghana campus, the strike is indeed...
Don't worry, Ajwa, hold on, it's fine. But yes, you heard some of the students there interact with Ajwa Tinkrama of our newsroom. A lengthier version of that very sound clip will be played later tonight on the news, so do make a date. It's at 6:30 p.m. right here on MX24 television. Now, if you heard the students as they spoke, they teased out some rather interesting points. Well, at the latter part, a certain gentleman was making reference to what the president may have said some time back, suggesting that, well, if you want to be a millionaire, perhaps teaching may not be the profession you should find yourselves in. That's something I think we can put aside or set aside and focus on the real issues. Unless, of course, we are suggesting by any means that this strike perhaps may be coming from that very comments passed by the president. Okay, so let's get Kwame Ntofianko, who is the SRC president, to wrap up on what his colleagues were saying. So, Kwame, we had a number of views from some of the students on your campus. Well, most of them seemed quite unhappy with the situation. A number of them, though, suggest that it is affording them the opportunity to catch up, which is to suggest that there was a lot that had to be caught up on. So, when the situation comes up this way, how do you, in fact, when you speak to your lecturers, what do they say to you? Of course, you were telling us about what management of the university had also said. At the time, we couldn't hear you so clearly. So maybe you could mix those two for us. What management of the university has been saying as far as the way forward is concerned, and what your lecturers have been telling you anytime you ask them about how you can get this semester done and over with.
Okay, so I think earlier on what I was trying to communicate was within this period, I mean from mid-2020 through to now, we've witnessed several strikes from UTAG to senior stuff. And as a on the way forward. At this point in time, I think there is a bit of pressure on our school's management because they work hand in hand with UTAG.
That's true.
Okay. The concession with UTAG. So at every point, need any kind of information, we don't resort to UTAG, but to the university management. What is currently happening is we're actually going to engage the school's management in the course of the week to give the assessment of the situation, because if you are to peruse the University of Ghana statutes, I think there's a section that indicates that after 21 days of inactive academic work, the university has to be closed down. I don't know whether that will be triggered. I mean, I don't know whether that will be triggered. Let us be on record. But I think these are some of the things that could possibly happen. Now, if you look at the University of Ghana right now, we have actually implemented a modular system where we have 2 cohorts of students on campus. That is 100s, 400s, 200, and 300s. Within this week, if it wasn't for the strike, we would have gone home, particularly the level 400s, whilst we prepare for our final, our national service.
Right.
As it stands now, what, per my engagement with the lecturers, what I anticipate happening is, it's 2 things. It is likely that maybe the school would, they won't necessarily close down the school, but maybe they would have to restructure the academic calendar. That would mean that a new examination timetable would come out, and there are rumors circulating that we would start a national service without writing our exams. I don't know how possible that is or any rule that backs that, but these are some of the possible situations. Now, if you look at students' residence, I think that is an issue that we should pay much attention to. With University of Ghana, we have students who are residents of private hostels and those that are residents of traditional hostels. For the traditional hostels, I think we can, let's see, it's more of a grace period for them because it's a government university. So if we have students residing in government halls of residence, I think there could be some kind of gentleman agreement. But the unfortunate situation is the students who find themselves in the private hostels. Now, most of these private hostels are not housing just University of Ghana students. They are housing students from other universities, those that are close to UG. I don't want to mention names. Now, on several occasions, okay, these private hostels have indicated that individuals from universities are willing to give them, but the engagements or the concession our students had with these private hostels were such that their tenancy would end probably by the 23rd or 24th of August. Now, what I see happening is if that day is due, that is 24th, which is likely going to be Monday or Sunday, I'm not too sure about that. It would mean that our students who are residing in the private hostels are being charged sometimes times 4 or times 8 of what we currently charge in our traditional halls will be made to go home. And you can't necessarily blame these private hostels because an agreement is an agreement. And I believe that prior to they giving our rooms to, prior to they giving their rooms out to University of Ghana students, they didn't really anticipate a UTAG strike. So these are some of the things I would want our university management to involve themselves in to see how best they could have some kind of agreement with these private hostels, because you can't blame our university students for the situation they currently find themselves in. Right. Neither can you blame the private hostel managers for what the university is currently challenged with. So these are some of the things that we are currently looking at.
Okay. So if I hear and understand you correctly, there are two things you are actually looking at. One has to do with the restructuring of the academic calendar, just so it's able to accommodate you guys, and then you can complete your school and then go ahead and do your national service. And also I'm seeing something that has to do with hostel arrangements and how perhaps there should be some form of arrangement to cater for the additional days students will have to spend on campus, particularly since it was unbudgeted for, right? Okay, great. Let's go to, let's hear from the university teachers now. And Dr. Davis Anafo is the UTAG president. He's also a lecturer with the University of Energy and Natural Resources. He's joining us also via Zoom. Doc, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Doc, your children are crying, no?
A little correction. I'm the UTAG secretary.
UTAG secretary.
President.
Okay, all right. Sincere apologies for that. Doc, your children are crying. Why are you doing this to the young ones?
Good evening to my fellow panelists in the good evening to your listeners and all your viewers across the country. I mean, nobody takes delight in subjecting his fellow human being to some torture, in quotes, you know, and certainly not a teacher. Every teacher loves his students, and this has been demonstrated over the years. In terms of how we've handled academic work in this country for quite some time now. I mean, if you bear with me, for close to 10 or so years now, UTAG has never gone on a strike. But of course, like many of your analysts indicated, we've gotten to the point where we have to ensure that our conditions of service are actually fixed. We can't continue to negotiate with government for close to 10 years. There's no end. It appears no end in sight.
Sorry.
Once there's no end in sight.
Doc, sorry. What you have said, someone will say is cliche. We've been hearing that thing, you know, oh, we like our students. Oh, no, it's not that we deliberately want to do this. Yes, granted. That's cliche. But you hold on until such a time when the students are writing exams. Some will necessarily have to complete so they can go and do their national service and the like. Others need their thesis to be approved so they can perhaps go on and do some other things. At such a critical time, then some would suggest that no. You had your own agenda and you deliberately timed it in such a way and manner so that you can have the maximum impact. Maximum impact for you, but then of course, it also affects the children. Again, why do you do this to the young ones?
Fair comment. Fair comment, I would say. That is a fair comment. Because, to be honest with you, we decided to go on during the long vacation. And you don't expect anybody to listen to us.
So it was deliberate. You decided to pin the students so that when the students start complaining, government will be forced to react.
Nobody would listen to us if we went on a strike during the long vacation. we had sent signal to the powers that if by 1st July nothing was done to ensure beef.
Doc, your network is rather problematic, but Dr. Davis Anafo is the UTAG secretary. He's telling us a few things about the need for such a strike action and particularly why it is being done now. His internet connection is not very stable. I think he's repositioning himself so that we can hear him a bit better. But if you heard him correctly, he suggested that, well, when you are carrying out such actions, you want maximum impact. And once you have that maximum impact, then you get the attention of the powers that be, the people who run the show. Then they can pay attention to you and deal with your needs or address your challenges for you. And so do not be too offended, and then we'll see. Okay, I think his line is better now. Dr. Anafo is on now. Doc.
Some of these universities.
Okay. No. Doc, can you hear me? Okay. Doc's line is not very stable. Let's hear from Kofi Asare while we'll try and bring back Dr. Anafo on the line, maybe on phone even if his Zoom connection is not very stable. So let's hear from Kofi Asare. Kofi, this is what the university teachers are saying to us, that yes, it's a fair comment when we suggest that they timed this perfectly so that it affects the academic calendar in such a way. Would this be a fair thing to say, really, if teachers are thinking in this way, that they are organizing a strike during a very strategic period so that it affects the children, and then the children can scream and shout and throw tantrums, and then of course government will say, hey, the students are shouting, it will become unpopular, so let's try and fix the problem. Is this perhaps the best way forward in dealing with an issue as sensitive as this? Okay. I think we're having some internet challenges though, but we'll hear Kofi Asare in a short while. He's the Executive Director for the Africa Education Watch, and he's been sharing some views on the issue of the strike action by university teachers in the country. They have been on strike for about 2 weeks now, heading into the 3rd week. As you do know, the law suggests that if academic activity is stalled for at least 21 days, I think, the academic calendar must be suspended, and so everything you've done must be put on hold. Mind you, Kofi Asare has drawn our attention to the fact that because of COVID, a lot of things have been pushed back, and now lecturers are even struggling to, push a few things here and there. Students are struggling to even catch up with everything that has been rushed through, because mind you, at this point, some of the things will have to be rushed through. But some way, somehow, though, that does not appear to be enough to get all of us around the table to address that very teething problem. And it's not to suggest that the lecturers do not have a point, or that government may not have its position also on this issue, but it's about the interest of the students. I personally do not feel that students should be held hostage just because government is failing to do what they must do, or teachers want more than what they are due. And so, as to why the grass is suffering when 2 elephants are fighting, I don't know. But I think Kofi Asare can hear me now. Kofi, can you hear me now? Okay. Kofi also cannot hear me now. But this is Opposing Views live on MX24 television. We'll try and reconnect with all our guests in a short while. For now, though, we'll have to take a quick break. And when we return, the conversation continues. Stay with us.
Hey, Brantia, Aketesia, Ibi Family, Charlie, MX24. My baby, must say, baby, about people that do Mumma and bad.
Hey guys, this is your girl, Miss Sasha.
This is the best MC, best hype man in Ghana 2020. I beg you, success, the highest MC. Keep watching MX24.
It is fun, it is fearless, it is factual.
Meson, ni besibia, meson.
Good evening. Thanks for staying with us. This is Opposing Views. My name is Kwabna Chenche Hineboating. Like I keep saying, you can get interactive, join in the conversation. If you are following me personally, it's at the KKBGH. And if you're following the MX24 handles, it's at MX24GH. And so remember that at the KKBGH and at MX24GH. I've realized quite a number of comments have come in already. I'm going to read them in a short while. But let's go back to the phone lines now, this time round, and speak to Dr. Davis Anafo. He was taking us through something, but the internet will just not allow him to land. And so, Doc, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello, Doc.
Yes.
Great. We can hear you now. Great. So, Doc, you were giving us a point or two as to why the strike is necessary and why the timing is perfect. Let's hear you, sir.
Yeah. So all I was saying was that it's quite sad that students have to go through this ordeal, but it is not something that you can blame on the university teacher because we've been on this trajectory for more than 10 years. We've been engaging with the powers that be, with the various ministries and agencies that have a role to play in getting our conditions of service fixed. Unfortunately, that has not happened. And we served notice to the NLC and to other aspects that if nothing is done about our conditions of service by the end of July, then UTAG would have no option than to advise itself by withdrawing teaching services. Unfortunately, on our part, nobody responded to that our letter. In fact, nobody even acknowledged receipt of the letter. And we sent reminders. Nobody acknowledged receipt. Nobody responded to those reminders as well. And so we were compelled by the situation, to call for the strike at this particular point in time. And I mean, let's just be honest and call a spade and not a big spoon. I mean, if any lecturer decided to go on a strike during long vacation, I mean, nobody will even listen to your consent. So we are compelled to do what we are doing now.
Okay. So let's get into the merits of the entire conversation. Why are you on strike? Is it that you want more money or what?
In fact, we don't want more money. We just want the salaries that university lecturers were taking home as far back as 2012. I mean, what happened was that somewhere in 2003, there was a roadmap between the then Kufuor administration and university lecturers, which placed the entry salary of a university lecturer, freshly minted with a PhD, at $1,500. Fast forward to 2012, upon the implementation of the single spine salary structure, things were much better. And so we moved from the $1,500 payable in city equivalent entry point to $2,084 payable in city equivalent. Now what has happened is that between 2012 to date, there has been an erosion in the basic salary that lecturers are supposed to take. So as we speak, what the lecturer actually takes home is just a little above $900. And so we have lost about $1,020 on our basic salary as compared to what we were getting in 2012.
Doc, how does that happen? If you have negotiated conditions of service and it's at a certain margin, how is it able to drop by such a significant percentage for all these years, and we are only hearing about it now?
Now, so what happened was this. After the implementation of the single spine, government decided that they were going to freeze the dollarization of salaries in the country. Now, but they introduced something known as market premium, which market premium gave lecturers, our qualification, experience, and everything, was put at 114% of our basic salary. So that ensured that we're at a certain level, right? Now, as we speak, they also decided that there should be a freeze on the market premium component. So what happens is that if you are even employed today, the 114% of your basic salary, which is supposed to be the market premium of your basic salary, is calculated against the basic salary of 2012 salary and not current salary. So as we speak, although it is supposed to be 114% of our basic salary, it is actually around 52% of our basic salary. And that is how come there's been that significant drop in the salary of lecturers.
Okay. Doc, pardon me, but I have to take you back so that it can help us appreciate this some more. So you're saying that, yes, it was pegged at $2,084. For some reason, though, it fell to about, what, 1,500, you say, and now subsequently to 900. Now, you speak of market premium. Help us understand how this market premium affects that $2,000. You've tried explaining it, but we didn't get it clearly enough. I personally didn't.
What I'm saying is that if you take the salary of a lecturer,
okay,
what many people will refer to as the basic salary, if you take the salary of a lecturer, it is made up of two main components.
Right.
Which is as a result of the implementation of the single spine salary structure in 2012.
Okay.
Now, the two main components that make up the basic salary of a lecturer are his basic salary, which is one component, and then a certain percentage of the basic salary is calculated and paid to him as well, him or her as well. So that percentage is supposed to be 114% of the basic salary.
Okay.
Now, what happened is that after the implementation of the single spine salary structure, government came up with a memorandum that more or less said that there was going to be a freeze on the market premium until further notice. So what happened was that if, for instance, you were earning, let's say, 1,000 cedis in 2012 as your basic salary, and then they were calculating 114% of the 1,000 cedis and paying that you in addition to the basic salary, what it will mean is that you would have been taking something above 2,000 cedis as your basic salary.
Right.
Now, today, many of us have had, maybe today you are not taking, let's say, 3,000 cedis as your basic salary. But the 114% is not calculated on the current 3,000 cedis that you are taking, but it's calculated on the 1,000 cedis that you were taking as your basic salary in 2012.
I see.
I hope you are getting it.
I get it.
And so if you calculate 114% of the 1,000 cedis in 2012, you get something above 1,000. But if you are calculating the 114% on the current basic salary of about 3,000, you'll be getting something above 3,000. So when you put the two together, instead of getting 6,000, now when you do the calculations, the person will be getting something around 3,900 or something. Which is what caused the dip in our basic salary. And that is why we are calling that government should help restore us to 2012 value.
Okay. Let me ask this though. I want to believe this was not done in vacuum. You were consulted when government was doing this restructuring, correct?
Certainly.
Okay. That is to also suggest that you perhaps agreed to this, correct?
Yes, there was a memorandum.
Okay.
Between the parties.
So if you have agreed to it, you were not forced to accept it. You have agreed to it. And 10 years down the line, 9 years down the line, you now come back and say, yes, we agreed to it, but now, no, the money is too small. So take us back to where we were. Will it not be you operating in bad faith?
No, we aren't operating in bad faith. I mean, everybody seeks to make progress in life. Why would you take $2,000 equivalent in cedis in 2012, and today you are taking 900, and you feel that?
Doc, granted,
that has been,
all fair and square. But my point is, you did agree to it. UTAG agreed to all of this. So why are you now doing a 360 to suggest as though?
Now, so it's based on the realization of how it's based on the realization of how UTAG members, the conditions of service of UTAG members have deteriorated over the years, that we decided in 2018 to get back to government to renegotiate these things, right? And government agreed to come to a negotiation table with us.
Okay. So in 2018, so in 2012, this was done. You agreed that it's okay. We won't take so much. We'll take this rather. And you agreed. 6 years down the line, then you write to government and say, government, it looks like the money is not enough. We are suffering. So let's come sit together again and find a way to try and see if we can increase the margins a bit. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then government agreed to it. Right. Then what happened?
So government agrees for us to sit on the negotiation table and look at the conditions of service.
Okay.
We sat on the negotiation table 3 good years. There is no way forward.
If you say no way forward, how do you mean? Is it the case that government is not making any proposals, or that the proposals that are being made are not good enough for you?
As we speak, there is no proposal on the table from government.
Not a single proposal in the last 3 years?
Not even a penny.
Okay. In the last 3 years or so, you'd realize that the government has come under a lot of pressure. So many issues have happened, particularly now also when COVID has hit. Government appears to be in a very tight spot. So really, if they are not giving, perhaps it's because they may not have so much to offer now. Again, why then does this become a basis upon which you hold your students to ransom?
In fact, throughout the negotiations, we have indicated to government that we are not asking for our request to be met here and now. What we have always indicated to government is that let us agree on something. And once something has been agreed upon, again, a roadmap for the implementation of what has been agreed upon can be determined. And which roadmap can take us 2, 3, 4 years to implement and get us back to a certain point. And this has always been our position. So we are not actually, saying that government, just give us $2,084 today. That has never been our position. Our position has always been that let us agree on the fundamentals, let us agree on the basics, let us agree on what is essential. Once that has been agreed upon, then of course a roadmap for implementation of what has been agreed upon can also be agreed between the negotiating parties. And so government can decide to roll it out in bits and pieces and implement it over a period of time, just as it happened in 2003 when government had a roadmap of about 4 years, because that under Kufuor it took about 4 or 5 years for them to move it to $1,500 that a lecturer was getting in 2008. So it took 2003 to 2008 to implement that particular roadmap. So what we are saying is that let us agree on something, and then a roadmap can be agreed upon, and then based on that roadmap, it could take 2, 3 years. Then you move us to where we want to be.
Okay, all right. I know you have been engaging the education minister on a number of occasions. What has he been saying to you guys?
Well, I'm not part of the negotiations team per se. UTAG has a standing negotiations team that actually engages government on many of these things.
Okay.
But as you understand it now, and as they've made us to know, I think somehow government is willing to now get us back to the negotiation table.
Okay.
Something which we are also excited about, and so we look forward to meeting.
Do you have any idea when this meeting is due?
As I speak now, I have no idea, but I'm sure it will be within the next few days, the next 1 or 2 days.
Okay, so today is Tuesday. Give or take, say by Thursday, you should have met with government and perhaps charted a path forward, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
That is what we are looking for.
The academic calendar is still behind. We are still on the clock. The 21-day timeline is striking anytime soon. Are we mindful of that, and do we have contingencies should that timeline be missed?
On the part of UTAG, we don't have any contingency plan. If the parties, the powers that we are able to get us to have some agreement within the next few days, and as a result of which we may call off the strike or suspend it and get back to the classroom, we will be fine with that. Otherwise, on our part, I must say, and for the average UTAG executive, the last few days have really been hectic. Our members have really had enough, and they really want us to go the long haul. And it's taken us a lot of effort to be able to calm down nerves and to get to have further discussions with government and government access to be able to get this to the result. So
are we hopeful of reaching a consensus, hopefully by close of week, so our students can go back to the schools and finish their exams and go home and have some peace? Is that something realistic?
UTAG wishes that we can have consensus.
Yes, but yes, you see, UTAG, you were very resolute in your views and position. Granted, government now has made a move. You should meet them halfway. And so I'm asking, in the interest of your students, are we mindful of this? Are we putting this at the back of our minds, even as we negotiate, so that we can quickly arrive at some sort of consensus and then get back to the classroom so our students can finish with this academic semester and move on?
Yes, I mean, on the part of UTAG, we are never interested in any grand panel with anybody.
Right.
And so what we are really interested in is for us, I mean, this is what we enjoy doing. We enjoy being in the classroom, we enjoy being in our laboratories, we enjoy doing our research, we enjoy doing offering community service and all that. That is our calling. That is what we enjoy doing. So we are not really interested in a grand panel with government or with any other person. And so if government comes up with proposals, and which proposals we also lay before our general membership, and people feel that this is good enough, or this is a very good move made by government, certainly we will be happy to call off the strike and get back to the classroom as quickly as possible.
Okay, I'll need you to give your students maybe some words of reassurance now that you are going back to the negotiation table. So hopefully on Thursday, when we do opposing views, we may not necessarily have to call and hear some more bad news.
Well, so all that I can say to our students is that we should all remain...
I think you should apologize to them, though. You should.
Well, when we meet them in the classroom, we'll do that.
No, they are listening to you and watching you right here on MX24. Please apologize to them.
Well, the reason why I wouldn't want to apologize in the open is that, I mean, what's wrong?
They have been caught up in the crossfire. Through no fault of theirs, they are having to bear the brunt of your frustration and government's perhaps inefficiency, as some of you say. So please, apologize to the students.
Hopefully government will apologize to them.
Government will apologize to you, but you have to apologize to the students. So let's hear you.
We have to apologize to our students?
Mm-hmm.
What wrong have we committed?
You don't think you've heard your students in any way?
No.
You don't?
I don't think so.
I see. Okay.
Yes. And many of our students actually support our action. They appreciate what we do for them, in and out.
Oh, no, don't worry. They are discerning enough. They are old, mature, and rather discerning enough. So my point is that what you are saying suggests to me you don't think they deserve an apology for holding them hostage or taking them. Go ahead.
I don't think that we've done anything untoward to our students, and I therefore don't think that we have to
the students. Let's hear some comments from some of your students. Chemopon Daniel is the Education Secretary for NUCS. Daniel, you've heard your lecturer speak. Do you have any comments to share on that?
No.
Yes, Daniel.
Yes.
Right. Let's hear you.
Again.
Your lecturers have been speaking. Let's hear your views.
All right. Good evening once again. Okay, I'm speaking from the National Union of Ghana Student House.
Right.
Currently, initially, I think we first released an information pleading on the side of the government and our UTAG executives and even teachers to come back to class so that we can find other pragmatic.
Okay, so Daniel, you are begging them, eh?
You said?
Daniel, you are begging them.
No, I'm trying to say that initially our letter we released.
Right.
That's what we were saying initially, that we were pleading that they come back to class and that they find other pragmatic means.
Right.
Solving this very, very canker. But we did that and at the end of the day, we didn't get any fruitful response from the government. But at this very material moment, I think this conversation started way back 2013. So at this very material moment, we are pleading to the government to do the needful so that at the end of the day, students' life, we can also ensure sanity in our academic life, because already the academic calendar has already been jeopardized by the COVID-19. So we are pleading that the government does the needful at this very moment so that at the end of the day, there can be sanity in our academic calendar.
All right, that's fine, Daniel. So you are still begging, except that you are not begging the teachers, but that's fine.
We are not begging.
Let's hear from Kwame. Kwame is the SRC president for the University of Ghana. Kwame, you've heard from UTAG. They have given their position. They've given reasons why they've had to do what they've had to do. It's a bitter pill, but it must be swallowed. Someone must bear the cut. And so this is what they have to do to get government to respond to all of their concerns that they've been raising all of this while. How satisfied are you with these justifications? And what's the way forward for you and your colleagues?
Well, I must say that as students, this situation is more of a mixed lesson, considering the fact that if you had to look at University of Ghana, if we had written our exams last week, per my engagement with students, most of them claimed that they would have struggled a bit, and this has afforded them much time.
No, students always struggle with exams, regardless of the strike action. So,
well, you can actually make that case, but mind you, we are not running a normal academic system as compared to what is practiced over the years. I indicated earlier on that we are running a modular system. That is one side of it. Now, I think we are to some extent putting the future of the young ones into jeopardy. For me, I wouldn't take sides in this matter because I don't speak for UTAG, neither do I speak for government. But we should consider the fact that students who are the bargaining chip, okay, our academic life should be seriously looked at.
Right.
Because if we are to leave things ajar, and we always anticipate that UTAG is going to strike, this is going to be the resolution, government will then listen. At a point in time, you know that whatever discussion they may have with government, it's not going to yield much fruit. And then at the end of the day, we the young ones or we the students are the ones bearing the brunt. I think we should consider how much this strike has seriously affected the lives of students and reach a proper resolution immediately. For me, I wouldn't necessarily be the type to beg government or beg UTAG, but I think we should consider its repercussion on the youth once and ensure that the right thing is done. I think that is what I can say.
All right, Kwame, thank you. I'd like to also thank Dr. Davis Anafo. He's the UTAG secretary, also a lecturer at the University of Energy and Natural Resources. Doc, thank you so much for joining us today with those perspectives, and we are hoping for the best. Hopefully on Thursday when we call you, we are hoping to hear some very, very good news from your end so that our students can return to the classrooms. Also, Chairman Opon Daniel is the Education Secretary for the National Union of Ghana Students, NUGS. He joined us for our conversation. Kofi Asare is the Executive Director for Africa Education Watch. He also joined us with some perspectives. For the number of you who are online, who are watching and sharing your comments, I'll just read a few. Nanaya joins us with the message, we are okay. Nobody has sent you guys. We want the best for UTAG. Okay. I think he's one of the people who has not finished with the syllabus for the academic year. But don't worry. Yes, agreed. Understandable as well. Laurentia Cody says, Nana, I'll take your time. And then she goes ahead to put some laughter emojis. Clinton Bafor Benin says, proactive leadership. Kudos to Nto Fianku for the good work representing the Premier University. Okay. So that's Kwame Nto Fianku's people giving him some funds there. He seems to be pushing the agenda of the students and be doing everything humanly possible to ensure that the interests of the students are heavily represented. Herbert Apietu says, Herbert is live with you. Herbert, thank you for watching. Mensa Lyrics puts up a fire emoji. I suppose that is more fire. Okay. Laurentia Cody comes back and says, please, we are not crying. We only need some essential clarifications. Okay. So, yeah. And I think we managed to get those clarifications from UTAG, Laurentia. Ohineba Kwesi Krenzel Jr. says, well spoken, Kwame Amonto. And then Asamoah Chris Boateng suggested that, well, we called them on phone. I think this was at a juncture when the internet was dancing azonto. But thankfully, we have it back on. Okay. For the many of you, I think we may not be able to take a lot more messages. I've seen some on WhatsApp though, but I don't think we may be able to take them because we have just 1 minute to wrap up. But thank you for taking time off to watch, particularly now that we have changed the time of opposing views and it's now at 5 p.m. Mind you, at 5 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Opposing Views is live on MX24 television. My name is Kwabna Chencheni Boati. I'm thankful you joined us again. Like I keep saying, if you want to follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube, it's at the KKBGH. The KKBGH is on your screen right now. And then also, remember, at MX24GH, all social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, again, on YouTube. You can get some more there. I'm done for today, though. But Marie-France Fojo is standing by because she's coming your way with something rather interesting. I'm sure you may have seen that viral video of a certain Anglican priest, they say, who has been sharing cases. Yes, he's been sharing a lot of cases to a number of ladies, and he's been getting funds for it. Well, two updates. One is the fact that there was a press release that was put up by the Anglican Church. The latest on that, I am told, is that, well, he's been relieved of his duties. There's more on this, but it's only on MX24 News, which is at 6:30 p.m. with Marie-France Fojo and the team. My name is Kwabena Chenchenibwati once again. Many thanks for watching Opposing Views. I'll see you on Thursday.